Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. Again, I know the audio quality isn't as good as it can be. I just tried my microphone that I do have. It is not compatible with my camera and I can't afford to buy another microphone right now. So I turned off my air purifier fan. I am sweating, but I am gonna film this video and hopefully you can hear it. I'm speaking up. Sometimes I'm not as loud because I live with another person and they're here, but right now they're not. So I'm gonna try to film this video, which is a review, I guess, of this book. Whatever this book is called, We Used to Live Here. Yeah, so I heard good things about this and I think I've had some realizations about what kind of horror works for me. So this, you look at the cover, there's a house on it, so I'm assuming haunted house, right? And I listened to this on audio. Do I recommend that? It depends on, I don't know, you know what, this is a tangent, but I wonder when they make audiobooks, I wonder if they are formatted specifically for like headphones, because I feel like that's the when I hear it the best. Because I was driving back and forth to my mom's and I listened to the majority of it during those drives and then I finished it. But you know, also my car is old, so it could be the speakers, but I just in multiple vehicles never feel like an audiobook is loud enough for me, and then you combine it with the road, whatever. So I would not say I love the audiobook, especially because this book has these like, I guess if you're reading it physically, it's more like mixed media. It has almost like, it's not called Reddit, but like Reddit threads that are read, documents and stuff like that. And it was not enjoyable to listen to them. And one of the reasons why was because when they would finish with that little thing, there would be like this like music, like staticky, kind of like you were losing connection sound. If I can find it on my sound thing, I will add it in here. But I was like, so I would have it up because I'm trying to hear what they're saying, and I would come on and I'm like, God dang, and I have to turn it down. Anyway, the book, right? We used to live here. The description says, meet. Oh, this says soon to be a Netflix original movie. You know what? It was written like it was supposed to be a movie. I don't know how to explain that to you, but it's about two homeowners whose lives are turned upside down when the house's previous residents unexpectedly visit. So we have a queer couple, Charlie and Eve. They buy this house in Oregon, and that's their whole thing, is buying houses to flip them, to sell them, move on to the next one. So they have moved out here from the East Coast to buy this house. It's pretty run down, although again, one of those little extra mixed media things was like a description of the house. Of course, they kind of built it up, and I'm assuming because it came from New York, they didn't necessarily see the house before they bought it. They bought it anyway. The book starts with Eve at home by herself. Charlie's like run into town, and these people show up. She opens the door, and it's a family of 5, a mom, a dad, 2 boys, and a girl. And the dad is like, we used to live here, we're on a trip, and I wanted to stop here and see if I could give my kids a tour of the house. And I'm gonna go ahead and say, I don't know how far we are into this video, that I already had 2 red flags. House flippers. Boo! Tomato, 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 okay? I know there are some people who do buy homes and actually take time and care and still keep the original character of the home and make it better, blah, 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 blah. You always gotta give a goddamn caveat when you're saying something. But that probably wasn't them. Anyway, number 2, opening the door, because I think it's like early evening time, opening the door to strangers, okay, and then letting them in your home. And don't say that's a spoiler because I just looked down and it says it in the thing. Eve, it's a people pleaser to a fault. Eve lets them in because she goes through this whole back and forth of, oh my God, no, let me call my partner, see if she's okay with it, because she is a people pleaser and usually uses her partner as a scapegoat or as like somebody to do the hard part for her, and like, you know, saying, hey, we don't want to stay here, or you can't come in here, which, you know, relatable. I tend to be a people pleaser also, but you're not coming in my house. Especially when I'm alone and it's evening. I don't care if it looks like a little family. So off the bat, I was like, fools. Anyway, The story progresses. I'm gonna stick non-spoilery and then get spoiler. I will mark it. What else does this say? So as soon as the strangers enter their home, inexplicable things start happening, including the family's youngest child going missing, a ghostly presence materializing in the basement. Even more weird, the family can't seem to take the hint that their visit should be over. And then when Charlie vanishes, Eve slowly loses her grip on reality. Something is terribly wrong with the house and with the visiting family, or is Eve just imagining things? The unput-downable, spine-tingling novel is like quicksand. The further you delve into its pages, the more immobilized you become by a spiral of terror. Okay. You know what? That was a quote from the author of Tender as the Flesh, which I found remarkably boring, so I should have read that beforehand. Okay. She lets the family in, and things get weird, okay? Nothing like outright, but it's uncanny. She's like, did I see that? Did I hear that? But like, overall, they seem to be nice. Her partner comes back and is real chill about it. You know, they have dinner. There's a winter storm. The visit gets prolonged, okay? I'm trying to figure out what I can say without it being spoiler. It's very hard because there's all these different things that happen. But all of these things happen, right? It just keeps going. You're like, is Eve hallucinating? Is she losing her mind? Is the family, are they real people? Are there ghosts? Is it a combination? Is this a dream? And then we have these mixed media materials that are added in. We've got someone explaining a video recording. You've got transcripts. Somebody like at a police station. Again, like you have this thing that was supposed to be a Reddit thread. We have a lot of like very internet culture explained to us. Like basically it was supposed to be like a Reddit thread of somebody posting about a toy that they were looking for, and everybody saying that never existed. And we get the Mandela effect explained, and what is it? Sleep paralysis explained, and all of these. And they keep happening like every chapter or so. There's one of these like inserted things. There's something about the house. There's something about people in a certain place. There's a story about a fire. There's all these different things. And I'm like, okay, this must be adding up to something. There's going to be this great reveal. You're going to be, oh my gosh, and I'm going to pull all of these different moments that Eve experienced and these documents together. And you're going to be like, oh yes, let me go ahead and tell you. No. That doesn't happen. This was so unsatisfying. I was listening, so I'm driving, and I'm just like, I felt very underwhelmed for a lot of it. Like, there were little moments where I'm like, oh, that sounds creepy, you know? But I wasn't like, or anything like that, because like I said, ghostly encounter in the basement or in the attic. There's an attic and a basement in the house. Little moments where you're like, ooh, this could be creepy. Maybe it's because I was driving, I don't know, but I didn't get the full spooky vibes of it, right? I'm like 60% through, and I'm like, what is the point? I am so, at first, those little interlude things with the documents, I was like, ooh, okay. And then they just seemed more random, and I was losing interest. I'm like, what is the point here? But again, I was in the car, so I kept it on, and then by the time I got back here, I had an hour left. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna fucking finish it to see what conclusion we come to. And I was so disappointed. I was like, it feels like, somebody commented this, I put on Goodreads, like, what was this? Parentheses, derogatory. And someone said, what did they say? Someone said a Reddit story that should have just stayed on Reddit. And that's what it's giving. It's giving 2010s internet, creepypasta, Slender Man, back rooms. I watched some Black Mirror plus a random horror movie plus all of these internet things, and I tried to smush it into a novel and it didn't work. Like that's my thought. Someone's review, I'm not seeing it here on the Goodreads description, but someone's review was saying that they had seen comps for this as Parasite, the movie, and Get Out. I haven't even seen Parasite. I know, I'm ashamed. It's on my list to watch. Don't judge me. But Get Out, no. I haven't even seen Parasite. I'm just gonna say no. And that person who had seen it said no. This feels so unsatisfying. It does not feel worth the time that it takes to read. Not like it's super long, but it felt dull, convoluted. But like too much was going on at the same time, and yet not enough to make sense. There's just all of these like random things that nothing comes together where you're like, okay, well, this ending explains this, but what about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's worth it. It's not a good haunted house story because it's not really a haunted house story. It's like a mind fuck in not a good way. It's just like womp womp. I know that's not good, but it's hard to explain this without being spoilery, so I'm gonna get into details and spoilers, okay? You know I'm not good at counting down. 3, 2, 1, spoilers! Okay, these people, who lets people in their house? Ugh. Okay, crazy. Lets these people in, right? They get stuck there overnight because there's a snowstorm. Like I said, her partner is like weirdly okay with it, but she like goes in the basement, and the way they describe it of like she thought it was because the little girl decides to play hide and seek, so she thinks it's the little girl, but then the figure stands up and it's like 6 feet tall, like, oh gosh, what is this? And then she thinks it's running to her. She runs out of the basement. She goes to tell her partner, this is like 2, 3 in the morning, I forgot what she was up. She goes to tell her partner somebody's in the basement. Her partner's like, yeah, can we check in the morning? What? I don't care. If my partner came to me and was like, somebody is in the basement in the same house we are staying in, and you woke me up, you think I'm just like, ugh, she's like, a few more hours. Get up. Get up. And so instead she just like sits in bed and like eventually falls asleep, and nothing comes of that. Then the next morning she wakes up, her partner Charlie is gone. She goes downstairs, the family, the dad's in there cooking breakfast, just helping himself. And she's like, what is going on? Like, oh, Charlie left. She said she'd be back. She can't. So then Eve's trying to call Charlie. Eve can't find her phone. She asked them like, hey, can I borrow your phone? Now these people who stopped at her house are on their way to a cross-country move. They're in Portland. They're supposed to be moving to Minnesota. And they said, oh, we're on a cell phone fast. The church that they were in Oregon, presumably, took our phones, and when the cell phone fast is over, they'll FedEx it to us, so none of them have phones. Convenient. So then they are consistently telling you that this house is so isolated, there's no neighbor's house is so isolated, but she's like, I'm gonna go to the neighbor to find the phone, which is like a 10-minute walk. Which is like not, you know, typical suburbia, but that's not like super isolated either. Whatever. Maybe there's a lot of trees around the house. Goes to the neighbor's house. It's weird. There's like, she sees like a light be shut off inside. There's ringing the doorbell, no one's answering. The neighbor is behind her like on the little bridge. And she's like, no, I don't live with anyone. I live alone. That, you know, some of the lights are on timers. Okay. Goes in this lady's house, asks to use her phone. I guess she is an older woman, so fine. She doesn't have a cell phone. She offers her a landline that's down the hallway. Okay. Anyway, she has weird experiences at the neighbor's house, ends up leaving, goes back to her house. The family is still there, even though they said they were going to leave. Then she's going up in the attic to try to find snow chains for their truck so they can leave, because they're like, oh, well, it's snowing, we can't leave. And she's like, we got chains in the attic, so you can get the fuck out of here. That's one of the better decisions Eve has made. Then she has another experience with a goobly goblin in the attic. There's a creepy dumbwaiter that's like in the story, but like nothing ever, it just is moving up and down by itself, I guess, or like, is she out of her mind? Who knows? Again, there's just all these weird instances. She can't find her phone. She sees one of the boys with her phone, but then she like basically lunges at him, and then it turns out it's not her phone, so she's like losing it. They're a queer couple, obviously. The people who stopped there are like Christians, so then the mom is, you know, judging them for being queer. I don't know why we needed that. The family finally leaves. Charlie comes back. And she's like, girl, we gotta get the fuck out of this house, because all of this stuff has been happening, right? Charlie's not been there. She had a weird experience with the neighbor. She saw a thing in the attic. There's some other stuff that happened. Also, like a window changed in the house. She's like, that used to be a stained glass window. Now it's a regular window. Charlie comes in and sees the same thing. She's like, okay, fine. You're not, let's go. And they go to this motel. But then that night in the motel, she sees Charlie's phone is lighting up with her name. She's like, somebody has my phone. Let me answer. Picks up the phone. It's Charlie. She's like, That's not the real Charlie that's there with you, or the real dog. I never left the house. So she's like, bitch, I got to go. But of course she is so, she's like, 3 a.m. The fake Charlie wakes up and is like, what's going on? She's like, the construction guy. I was talking to him at 3 a.m. At 3 a.m., bitch. I know it was last minute, excuse me, damn. You couldn't say nothing else? Come on. Runs out of the hotel, motel, no shoes on. Is booking it down the road. She has to go get gas. Gotta get changed because they don't take a credit card. Get stopped by a cop. Then there's like a bolo out for something. We don't hear the full thing. Then there's she's trying to flee from the cop. Almost hits a child. Then we get a description of the child basically standing there like, and kind of, and then like running towards her, but then jets into the forest. Never know what that is. What was that? Gets back to the house. Trying to find Charlie. Comes across everything and nothing at all. Okay? It starts and it just, the little pieces in between, there's like a description of like the house that for sale. That makes sense. They just bought the house. Then there's like police footage of these kids who had said that they had broken into this old abandoned house, which I assume is this house. But then the police in the footage are like, that house is boarded up. You never went in there. We ran your names. You don't exist anywhere. What's going on? That's kind of like a foreshadowing for the end. Then there's all these other things again about like the fake Reddit thread about a toy that this person thinks exists and didn't exist. The thing about sleep paralysis. The thing about the Mandela effect. And basically all of this weird happenings. She also stumbled across like a cottage or cabin behind her house that has this weird man in it who says, get out, you're not supposed to be here. Don't really know what that means because that's never explained. The window changing in her house, that's never explained. We get to the end and essentially homegirl wakes up basically in like, the way the story ends is like the people who had come to her house, they had never come to her house. She had come there. Like, the dude, Thomas, was her brother, and he was helping her out. And she had broken up with Charlie years ago when Charlie was in New York. And so then, of course, they think she has lost it, and she basically, acts out, ends up killing his wife, severely harming him. And so then she's in, like, a psychiatric institute, and she's trying to tell these people about all these things. They're like, we looked you up. This is not real. Who are you? These are not your parents. Charlie does know you, but y'all broke up years ago. This is your brother. Like, that's the explanation. And then the only thing that really connects back to anything was that there was a locket that Charlie was wearing that had a picture of her. And she mentions it a couple times saying the only known photo of Eve Palmer. And at the end, Thomas, the visitor who came to her house, aka her brother, brings her the locket and it has that photo in it. And she goes again, the only known photo of Eve Palmer. What? So what did the monkey have to do with it? That was the toy in the Reddit thing. What about the neighbor? The random neighbor who is like kind but also weird, and the weird thing with the lights and stuff going on in her house. What about the weird thing that this is supposed to be? They had this weird section talking about how there were all these stray dogs here, and then that didn't turn into anything. What about the random man in the random cabin behind your house? Like, were there people inside of the house, or she was just hallucinating everything? Because Thomas, when he comes over as the visitor, ends up telling her a story about his sister who basically was going through the same thing. So it's like he was telling her that story, but it was her just going through a psychosis, I guess. But like, what about the boys? That story about the boys breaking into... It felt so unsatisfying to me. If I had read the physical or I had an ebook copy, I could have better notes about all the little different intermission things, because on its own the story was unsatisfying, but it pissed me off more to interject all of these things, and to me they had no meaning. So it was just, she just hallucinated, I guess. It really gave nothing. Like I said, there was one time I was like, ooh, that's kind of creepy, but other than that, characters, especially our main character Eve, frustratingly dumb. and Charlie, what? The structure, the plot, no. I could see how this could be more interesting in TV or movie format, but I still don't feel like the ending was satisfying with all of this stuff that you built up. You did not answer all of the questions. You really kind of answered one and then just left all of those and also created more questions. I don't like that. And maybe people who are fine with more ambiguous, not like concrete ending might enjoy this, because I know there are some people who've raved about it. Someone said, this book is like cilantro, you either hate it or love it. Well, I hated it. I did. I'll give it 2 stars because there were some moments where I'm like, ooh, okay, like I do want to see where this is going. But ultimately, it fell flat, flop, womp, womp, womp. And I personally do not recommend. That's just me. That's just what I'm saying. So if you read this, I would love to know your thoughts, especially if you enjoyed it. Like, what did you enjoy about it? And if you didn't, and then especially if you listened to the audio, did you like how they did the little intermission thing? That music really hurt my ears. It really did. So yeah, 2 out of 5 stars for me. No. Earlier I said I've kind of realized what I enjoy in horror. It's definitely not gothic. I don't like gothic horror. And I haven't read many haunted house, but truly the horror novels that have worked the best for me are ones that really take reality, and that's really horrific. Like, they may add a little dab of kind of like the paranormal, or like even a little tiptoe in a sci-fi land, but they're really just about like horrors of grief, depression, life, relationships. Like, that is my kind of horror. So not for me. Again, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed, hydrated, moisturized, and sunscreen. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.